What up, world? R.I.C.H coming right back at you. Drake just took the biggest loss of his career. The first artist in history who needed a verdict to tell him the beef was over. Judge Jeanette Vargas stepped up and broke it down plain. She said diss tracks are not objective truth. They're opinion, performance, and entertainment. She called Not Like Us what it really is. A song full of trash talk and figurative language. And then she said something that hit harder than any diss ever could. She said no reasonable listener would take it as fact. And that's the moment right there. That's the moment of Drake's pride collapsing. Because everybody knew it was a diss record. Everybody knew it was entertainment. Everybody except Drake. And that's why this one hurts different. Because you can't heal from something you never understood.
Not Like Us wasn't defamatory because in the context of a rap battle, reasonable people know the accusations they're making against each other aren't fact. So does that mean you can say anything about a rival in a rap battle?
I wouldn't say you could say anything about a person in a rap battle, but I will say that the judge looked at this from a holistic context of not only the fact that this is opinion and not fact, the context not just of the single song Not Like Us, but of all the songs in these diss tracks, and maybe even going a little bit into the history of how diss tracks operate, as you saw Mike Muse opining just a few moments ago. But you looked at it and said, there's no reasonable person who's going to listen to this and look at this and say, you know what, I think that Drake is, in fact, a certified pedophile, understanding that we know he has no criminal record or no allegations that have gone through the court system with that. And so I think the judge said this is opinion, not fact, and therefore not protected on the First Amendment and not defamatory.
The judge also threw out the New York State business claim questioning Drake's sources of info there. What do you make of that ruling?
Yeah, so don't forget, this is about a motion to dismiss. It's about the level of information that a judge is reviewing to see whether or not this case should go before a jury. And the judge looked at this and said, for the most part, you're making this deceptive business claim that UMG is harming your bottom line by promoting Kendrick Lamar's song and his music overall with the use of tweets and kind of insider information that has no real basis or no real grounded, reliable source. And the judge basically said, this isn't good enough for me to believe that this case should move forward.
Now Drake says he plans to appeal. How strong do you think that appeal will be?
So unfortunately, I don't think it's all that strong, but we do know that in the next 30 days, we'll see a one-page request to appeal this case to the Second Circuit in New York State. That's based on their stance that they will appeal. There's not going to be any facts in that document, but we will see arguments more likely than not that the judge overstepped their legal ability to say that this was or was not opinion or was not fact. We'll see different arguments and different interpretations, and we'll see what the Second Circuit does.
He tried to argue that the song's popularity made it different. That because Not Like Us blew up, it should have been held to a higher standard. But the judge looked them dead in the eye and said, popularity does not turn opinion into evidence. The court documents even said it. Not Like Us delivered the metaphorical killer blow. Same record that ended the rap beef just ended the lawsuit too. That's what happens when you try to turn feelings into facts. The law don't deal in feelings, it deals in proof. Drake walked into that courtroom thinking he could rewrite history, but the judge wrote a new chapter instead, and it was called Reality. UMG, his own label, they celebrated the loss. They put out a statement that basically said, thank you, Your Honor. They stood behind the art. They stood behind the freedom to create. They said from the outset, this case was an attack on creators' expression. That's corporate for you embarrass yourself. And then they hit him with the follow-up. We look forward to continuing to promote Drake's music. That's cold. That's control. That's checkmate. He wanted justice. He got humility. He wanted compensation. He got clarity. The judge didn't just dismiss his case. She dismissed his pride. And that right there is what makes this loss different. See, when you lose in court, you can appeal. But when you lose the culture, it ain't no second hearing. This was supposed to be his rebuild, his redemption, his rebrand. Instead, it turned into a reality check. Because when you got to go to court to prove you still him, you already lost. When you got to go to a judge to ask who won the rap beef, it's already over. Kendrick hit him with balls, and the judge hit him with the law. One embarrassed him in front of the culture, the other one documented it forever. He walked in trying to prove he was defamed, and he walked out proving he was defeated. And that's a different kind of loss. He didn't just lose to a rapper, he lost to a system. The judge told him straight up, this is art, not accusation. This is performance, not perjury. And when she said that, she took the last excuse off the table. The court said it, the culture said it, the streets been said it. It's over, Drake. Drake can say he'll appeal all he wants, but there ain't no appeal for pride. It ain't no reversal for respect. The truth is simple. If you needed a judge to tell you lost, you've been losing. If you needed a verdict to validate your name been damaged. And that's why this moment hits different. It's not just a loss, it's a legacy shift. For the first time in his career, the man who has controlled everything is not controlling the narrative. The law took the pen out of his hand and wrote end the chapter. This ain't about hits. This ain't about streams. This is about humility. And sometimes God don't take your career. He just makes you watch somebody else win. Drake wanted the court to make him whole, but the court made him honest. And that right there is how you fall off without even leaving the stage. A verdict so clear, it sounds like closure. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe. Establish Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.